And nothing got hurt or anything like.
It wasn't-
like 4 in the morning.
Well, my wife took issue with all the twerking. She thought that wasn't necessary.
Yeah, that was only the beginning. It was only the
Now we
beginning.
have to
but
know the full bylaws.
the rest of it was,
He's the one right next door upstairs.
it was like watching a Broadway play.
Yeah, so it was nothing really serious, so that was good. So,
How's everything else? Mike?
all right, we want to get started with the work session. Minutes of our meeting on January 26th, any additions, corrections, anything with them? Good. Abstract audited vouchers, any questions with that? Listed correspondence, we have 2 this evening. One is from the Town Building Department, providing a report of current applications and so forth. And we also have a second piece of correspondence from Superintendent Cisco recommending that we appoint Carson Burke to permanent status as a laborer for the DPW after successfully completing his probationary period.
Bill, we also have some unlisted that actually Devin sent over via email from the planning board,
Okay.
asking us to approve, I think it was a change, two change in use applications, I think.
Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't have time to print those out. So I think they're pretty general.
Yeah, it was just like recommendation, the planning commission recommended we approve the change in use for Labella Associates at 3825 Weldon, and for Simply Boba at 20 West Main Street.
Yeah, all right, we'll do that. Anything else? We have a couple of 3 resolutions tonight. First is to authorize for bids for the Pleasant Avenue sanitary sewer lateral rehabilitation project, effective beginning on Tuesday, February 10th, 2026, with a bid opening date of Wednesday, March 11th, 2026 at 11 a.m. Second resolution would be authorizing myself as mayor to sign and execute a contract with CIR Electrical Construction Corporation for the purchase, installation, and commissioning of 1 Level 3 EV charging station and associated electrical work along Packway in the Village of Lancaster. And the third is to appoint Margaret Gisco, 13 QE Avenue, to the position of clerk to the Village Justice Court for the village at a rate of $25 per hour with a start date on March 2nd, 2026. We have no other listed resolutions. We'll go to committee reports, and we'll begin with finance and claims.
I thought we talked last meeting about doing some outreach to Mr. Shutt about sitting down with him and just talking through the last couple of years of, working with his firm. I don't remember who was going to do that outreach.
Yeah, I will take care of that. I have to see Bill about something else, and I'll try to get in to see him tomorrow.
Okay,
I
all
just
right.
haven't had the opportunity.
Okay. I think that's all we had for finance and claims. Do you have anything?
I have nothing.
Okay. Public Works, Chairman Mickley.
No, nothing for Public Works, except just thanks to Wayne and the guys for keeping the streets looking the way they have been. It's been a rough winter with snow almost every day. And they've kept up well, so that's all I have tonight.
Yeah, believe it or not, I have gotten no complaints. I don't know about anybody else on the board, but no one has complained about snow removal at all. And there is no reason to it. Like I said, they've done a great job. Public safety, I really have no report this evening. Other than that, I have talked to Frank Tadaro, and we're just waiting for springtime, and we'll get some specifications going and get that crosswalk on Clark Street across from the parking lot going as soon as possible. Building lights and codes, John?
I had sent out an email to the board this weekend, I think, saying that I did want to soon schedule a public hearing for a change of the signage code. I do want to just hold off on that. I want to put that off a little bit because I realized afterwards HPC at their meeting this week on Wednesday is going to be discussing it, so I want to see if there's any recommended changes there. So next week, hopefully at next meeting, we'll see what happens. But most likely I'll be looking to schedule something at that point. And then only other thing is for the North End Fire Hall, we'd spoken in the past about the generator. It's going to also, we do have the bids for the generator, and there's going to be a fairly high electric cost too, which will all be for parts. But it's also going to require relocating. There's a dryer and a washer in that room. As long as we have Cadeni involved doing the building condition assessment report, I want to get them involved in this. I'm going to be meeting them there Wednesday and taking a walk through there. So This is slowly ongoing, but gain
They're
steam.
planning to put the generator back in that room? Or I
No.
don't think that would happen.
It'll be outside.
Yeah.
It'll run outside, but the problem is the electrical system, she can't be too close to the washer, which is in the same room. So we have to move the washer out of the room, so we got to rerun the plumbing all the way down into another room. So that's basically what we're doing.
And that's all I have.
Okay. Anything for John? Human Resources.
Human Resources, just per the resolution here, both judges, Hatzel and Bumble concluded their application and interview process for the position of court clerk, and happy to come forward with Margaret Gizo this evening that I'd ask for board approval for. Other than that, I have nothing for Human Resources.
Okay. Anything for Tammy?
Oh, the handbook. Is that,
It's coming.
it's coming?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Community events?
Community events, same there too, kind of a few things in progress. Starting to work with Hammerl Entertainment for the 4th of July. Right now is kind of the main concern that we're working on. Other than that, we're also in these few months here before events begin, we're also looking for outreach for sponsorship, things like that. So just a few things that are kind of going on, but nothing specific in regards to any events right now.
Okay, very good. Economic Development, I really have nothing tonight. Sewer, Chairman Michael.
Sewer, we have a resolution tonight for authorizing the bid package for the Pleasant Avenue Sanitary Sewer Rehabilitation Project. That tomorrow morning or tomorrow at some point, Watts will take care of that once we approve this. Getting the bid out there, and bids will be opened March 11th. And then there's 3 things on my committee list that are the 3 oldest things that are all 3 years old that I would like to remove, Mike. 46 Oxford, that's been on there since August 14th of 2023. We haven't heard from him in at least a year, and I do believe that this issue's been taken care of. Also here from 2023 for the CBD, the manhole that was under the roundabout, which has turned out not to be an issue, but it's still been here. I wouldn't mind cleaning that up. And the very next one, sewer camera maintenance issues.
Okay. Anything for Trustee Michael? If not, grants, Chairman O'Brien.
The Plum Bottom Creek Culvert project, the repairs, we had our first progress meeting last week, and everything was going along great. There was no issues that they've discovered. Saw some pictures of the work they've been doing, and it's really impressive how they relocate the water in order to get in there and work. They've got to shift it, and they have a panel on the far end to kind of block the wind coming in. So while they're not comfortable, it could be a lot worse if they had, but they have the wind blocked, so it's good. And it was nice because I actually was able to share with them a picture that Tom Sweeney sent me of the construction of the culvert. So they were showing me the repairs, and I showed them the construction from like the late 60s, and it was a good meeting. And as far as complaints from neighbors, I guess there were a couple of folks that questioned the pump running 24 hours, but it has to. They have to keep the water diverted. And once it was explained, from what I understand, people were fine with it. So that's moving along. We received notes from Erie County Department of Environment and Planning on the weekend, I guess, for the comprehensive plan. Just some requested changes to the plan, nothing dramatic. A lot of it was just like formatting type stuff, or like, oh, you referred to 10 things here, but you only list 7, that sort of things. So I gave Labella the okay to go ahead and make the changes requested by DEP. But going through it, actually, I saw some really nice comments that they made about other resources that we could potentially access once we start looking at implementing this plan. So I'm actually going to save the copy of their commented on plan, because there's a lot of really good information in there about that. So that's continuing to move along. We have the resolution tonight to approve the contract for the chargers on in Cave Creek Park, which I realize now I have noted under the wrong grant on here. Just a reminder that on 226, in this building, there is a public workshop about the streetscape improvements for the TAP grant and the mobility hub. So if you can make it to that, I think it would be good to learn about it if you don't know much about it, or just to be there to ask your own questions. I met with Bill Schutt last week, or 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago about the terrace once again. Even though we're not pursuing that grant, we decided that it could be useful to have a plan going forward. And I was actually really impressed. Dan Sundell is helping out with this project. He's a landscape architect. And he took kind of the ideas that we tossed around in the first meeting and created a really interesting rendering of what could be done with the site. So I asked them to keep working on it, and they expect to have something to present to us, or at least give us to review before the next meeting. Not saying we're going to pursue anything yet, but just having a plan and deciding where to go from there.
Sure.
And then additionally, the last thing I have on grants is we're working with the Lancaster Fire Department and with our grant writer at ECIDA to pursue a grant to pay for some gear washers and dryers for the fire departments for each of the stations. So the washing machines that you were mentioning, I guess we're trying to replace them with a grant. And so hopefully that we can get that submitted and get that paid for. But that's it for grants.
Okay, anything for trustee O'Brien? Not tech and marketing?
Okay, the GIS, I think I collected all the information that I could from every possible person I could collect information from. So just to start, I went back to why it was added almost 2 years ago to the committee report in the first place. And it seems to be that in that meeting, the question came up as to whether or not the village needed their own person to do the updating of the GIS. Excuse me for looking at my notes. So I spoke to a few people. I spoke to Wayne, I spoke to John Pilato, I spoke to Sheila at Wendell, and here's what we came up with. One, we don't have anyone to do those updates. Two, the town, which is much bigger than we are, they don't even have anyone to do updates. What I was told from them was that if they have a big project, development, or they have space so they can do those things, they go to Schutt, and Schutt does the updates, and the updates then go on to the system that is hosted by Wendell. It's a little bit confusing. And I said, okay. And in speaking, just for example, to the highway superintendent, John, he said, you don't even have the space to do that kind of development, so I'm not sure why you'd want a designated person to do that. I said, okay, I understand that, I agree with that. So when I spoke to Sheila, she said, not only do you not have a person to do it, if you did, you would have to be very specific in what you want them to look for. And I know I spoke when Sheila was here, she wanted to touch base with me, and she wasn't really sure also as to why. So the bottom line is, I don't know if we want to have somebody just in that position to do that kind of work. And even speaking to Wayne, we agreed that was more for somebody maybe straight out of college who would want to walk. And Sheila also agreed too that it's not something you would do now, because you would walk. You would, if there's something that we're missing. She goes, it could be anything from a street sign to not having, a culvert on the map or whatnot. She goes, so that's something that somebody would have to physically go out and walk and do. So I'm not sure, there's really no more information to give. I think that would be up to us if we wanted to have someone do that update, but I'm not sure for what purpose at this point.
Well, all our storm sewers are all marked.
Yeah,
We're not, pretty much, not likely, we might have one or two maybe in 5 years that we actually do. So to have somebody do it would be economically not even reasonable.
yeah,
And we have a tree keeper program, so they know every tree that we have now.
Right.
So that's all done. So in every street, we really aren't hitting any new streets.
yeah.
So
That's sort of what the town pointed
I'm
out.
trying to say.
Said you
what
can't really,
we're
there's not a whole
using it
lot to
for is-
update,
I don't know.
so I'm not sure.
So why don't we, it doesn't look like we absolutely have to have this. And so why don't we take that off the committee list, and,
All right,
if the situation warrants it in the future, we can pursue this and, maybe work with the town and Schutt, and we're covered, it sounds.
And there's a process in place that works.
Yeah,
So
so,
Yeah.
yeah.
okay.
So we'll get rid of that. And anything else?
Nope, that's it.
All right, and Climate Smart, Chairman O'Brien?
a couple things tonight. During the meeting, I will put forth a couple resolutions. We opened up the bids for the bare root trees for the coming year for both the DEC and the USDA grants. So I'll have resolutions to accept those bids. And then, in good news, we were actually, speaking of trees, we were awarded the Tree City Growth Award for the 3rd year in a row. Just another organization showing that the village is making great progress when it comes to our urban forest and maintaining it. So great job to the DPW for all the work that they do in taking care of that. It's nice to have. That's it.
That's it? Okay. We'll go to department head reports, and we'll begin with Superintendent Cisco.
Just trying to get through the winter, which we're doing pretty well. Salt, like I said before, is really delayed. You know, it used to be 2 days, it's at least 11. So that's basically where we're at. But right now, we do have enough, probably half a barn full, so we're okay for now. We're going to be working on those bump outs over here on the other side, we'll probably, when the weather breaks. And then tree trimming is going to start up the minute the weather breaks. So that's what we're working on. So other than that, everything's going okay.
Okay, anything for Wayne? Clerk Treasurer Stegmeyer?
Thank you. The only thing I had provided a resolution for election inspectors for the LoSAP referendum vote on March 18th. If the board's willing to approve that by resolution as an unlisted resolution this evening, then we can move forward with that. Otherwise, we can do it next meeting.
No, we'll do it tonight.
That's all I had.
Anything for Mike? Code enforcement, Matt?
Well, good evening. My apologies for missing the last meeting, but I was on the other side of the world, it seemed like, during that storm event. But it was an interesting 4 days, and again, it was just an overview of administering a floodplain from my position at the town side. But I could see some issues that might arise here at the village level. In that, in the adoption of the 2025 state code, it's identifying any properties within a flood hazard area, meeting those minimum requirements of the 1% or the 100-year floodplain. So a few other properties are going to be incorporated within that identification. They're not required to obtain flood insurance, but any significant improvements or substantial damage, they would have to meet those standards as laid out in the local flood damage prevention code here. So I'm having those discussions with the village engineer, and hopefully we can trickle them down to Wayne. And we're working on getting Tom his LOMAR certification, making sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed so we can finally move on with the project there. We received early this morning the link to file the 2025 statistics for building code administration through the Department of State. My intent is to have that completed this week, and I'll have that copy filed at the village clerk's office. I just saw coming in here tonight that we did receive an update of the residents that were contacted related to their I&I violations. We sent a dozen of the notices out. And it's, as expected, we did field a lot of questions and a lot of calls. We tried to divert those over to Wayne and his team there, and it looks like we're all communicating well. I'll update our database here, and then if necessary, we could send second notices out
Well,
to those that did not call.
So a dozen went out, 9 you said called, right?
Well, I think I gave you 8 on the list or something.
8 or 9, that's a pretty good ratio.
It is,
Yeah,
it is.
and we informed them too, that like you said, we talked. I'm going to give them a little more time.
On the list.
Okay.
One I don't see on the list, but I can see them on the list. The other two just didn't respond, so I can give them a reminder. Hey,
Yeah.
They have to deal with this.
Yeah.
And we'll revisit in better weather. We can't do anything now. We realize
Correct.
that. And it's been this way for decades. We don't expect 30 days
Yeah.
to get this thing addressed. But at least those conversations are happening. And then on I don't know if you want to call it a personal level or more of a public safety issue. The Clark Street section where the parking is restricted from Central Avenue to, I believe, the crosswalk at the Opera House, the signage is all gone. And whether or not you all notice, I see it on a daily basis. It is problematic. Parking on the south side of the street from the intersection, right on down the road. We can't get two-lane traffic through there. Pedestrians are crossing, this week, with the tax payments. I don't know what happened to the signs. They may have been removed for the winter maintenance, but the code is clear, 275 feet from the intersection, there's no parking on the south side of Clark Street because of the traffic, the oncoming traffic, people pulling in on Central. So it might be a public safety issue. We may want to get a look at that and either get temporary signage back up or reestablish that signage.
It's recent that it's missing?
Pardon me?
It's recent that it's missing?
I'm sorry.
It's just been recently missing?
You know, I just noticed it after the window project came through.
Yeah.
You know, there's been a lot of congestion there with the window installation. But I don't know if the sign was just removed temporarily for that, never replaced, or whatever the case is.
Right.
You know, there's a parking issue there. And I believe it's going to affect the traffic and anybody that's trying to cruise in and out of that place.
Okay.
Glenn, can you check
Captain,
into that, please?
Maybe, was there an accident recently in that area?
Not that I'm aware of that would have taken down the sign. I'm not aware of anything in that area.
It was there in August, according to Google Maps.
No, it was there, but
It
I think they
was.
might have taken them down for the project for the windows. You know, I'm not saying that it didn't, I don't know for sure,
It
but,
makes sense that it would.
you know, it would be in the way for them.
We can get that back up.
So, I mean, I think Adam did talk to the town about it, so I'll discuss it with him tomorrow.
Okay.
But he did talk about doing something about putting it up against the building or something, so they know.
Yeah.
So that's basically where we're at. We were gonna have a temporary, but we didn't have a plaque
It
for
is
it.
seasonally expected. We're speaking to the same individuals about keeping their sidewalks clean. So I plead, I beg, I urge, you know, if you see somebody in the neighborhood that hasn't been, let's find out what's going on. A lot of our residents are elderly, unable to do that. The plow operators certainly aren't going to get out of the truck and do sidewalks, and they need the, you know, the high rows and all that. So I've seen in other communities how they've opened up a Facebook page about how do you do good for your neighbors so they can advertise and all that jazz. But, you know, that's neighborhood dynamics. I would expect, you know, people just to look out for each other. And you see something, you try to help out or do something as opposed to just calling enforcement and
Right.
sending nasty grades out. It's our community, so let's work together to make it passable, movable, proper. But outside of that, I have nothing else.
Okay. Thank you, Van. All right, Cap?
I have nothing tonight.
Well, that's a good thing, I guess. Art?
Nothing this evening, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, and I think that takes our department head reports. Anybody have anything that they'd like to discuss now? If not, we got about 40 minutes. Okay.
It's about a half hour long. No?